Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to the today class, and the class is, as I told you, that law of property. Then we are discussing the easement. This is the biggest chapter among the all the units over there, and this is the third day that we are continuing the same easement. Yes, now you tell me that what I posted on the screen. Yes, unmute and give me the answer. I could not hear you.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Tell me that what I posted on the screen.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, no, that is true. But what is the flower I put it on the screen?
Flower, sir.
Yes, what can you tell me what type of the flower it is? Sir, it's difficult to tell, but it's look like Mandarapu.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. అంటే కలర్ డిఫరెంట్ సార్.
కలర్ డిఫరెంట్ ఉన్నది కానీ అనిపిస్తుంది అంతే కానీ మందార పువ్వుని ఏమన్నానండి ఇంగ్లీష్ లో? ఎస్
ఐడియా రావట్లేదు సార్.
just say pass on. See, need not to shy. I will show you this thing. See, this is the Mandarapu. Did you see it?
ఎస్ ఎస్ సార్.
This is actually the Mandarapu.
ఎస్ సార్.
హైబిస్కస్ అంటారు దీన్ని. ఏమంటారు?
హైబిస్కస్.
యా ఇక్కడ రాస్తున్న చూడండి. సియామ్ గార్డెన్ 1 ఫ్లవరింగ్ లైవ్ హైబిస్కస్ అని రాస్తున్నది కనబడ్డదా?
ఓకే సార్.
హైబిస్కస్ HIBISCUS Mandarapu hibiscus. People say that with this in the oil, if you burn it, coconut oil, and put some of the flowers over there, then use the oil, then your hairs will be black, plus hairs growth is good. That is the traditional medicine, the people says. మందారపాకు యొక్క నూనె పెట్టుకుంటే దట్ ఈస్ వెంట్రుకలు మంచిగా ఉంటాయి, ఊడిపోవు, నల్లగుంటాయి. దట్ ఈస్ ద సేమ్. And of course, there is a fact also. And in fact, it is a good also to have it salava antaru danni. So that is another thing. Okay, that is the part of it. Then come to the easement. Yes, the 3 asterisks I put it over there in my last class. That is on Saturday, and today is Monday. And let us continue. The continuity would be there. That is the extinction of easement. And I told you what is extinction. What is meant by extinction? తరుక్కుంటూ పోవడం అంటే లేకపోవడము, దాన్ని ఎక్స్టింక్షన్ అండి. ద స్పెసీస్ ఆఫ్ పర్టికులర్ బర్డ్స్ ఆర్ నౌ ఇన్ ఎక్స్టింక్ట్ అంటే రాను రాను తరిగిపోతున్నాయి, కనబడతలేవు అన్నట్టు. అంటే క్షీణించిపోతున్నాయి, ఉంటలేవు, సచ్చుతున్నాయి. నో మోర్. ఆఫ్టర్ సమ్ టైమ్ ఇట్ విల్ బి నో మోర్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద హియర్ ఎక్స్టింక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఈజ్మెంట్ మీన్స్ క్లోజర్ ఆఫ్ ది ఈజ్మెంట్ వెదర్ because of that activity the easement will be closed or will be no more. That is the extinction of easement. An easement may be extinguished by any of the following way. Here extinguished means like fire is extinguished. So that is the way that we can say the fire brigade will extinguish the flame. Yes. So let us see the for number 1, extinction by the dissolution of right of a servient owner. See, servient owner means first party, second party. Yes. Servient tenement means first party, second party. Give me the answer. Unmute and give me the answer. Yeah, again it will be gone over there. So it is said that it is the second party. That is the second party, that is the servient owner so let us continue it when from a cause which preceded the imposition of an easement, the person by whom it was imposed ceases to have any right in the servient heritage, the easement is extinguished. How it can be extinguished? From a cause which preceded the imposition of an easement, the person by whom it was imposed ceases to have any right in the servient heritage. Suppose if he lost any right in that property, means ownership is lost, so his servant heritage will be lost. Then the easement will be extinguished. Only exception they say Nothing in this section applies to an easement lawfully imposed by a mortgager in accordance with the section 10. Of course, this will not be there where it is a mortgager is there. Then naturally, mortgager also or mortgagee also should have to follow it because mortgager has given such a right to the mortgagee. At that instance, it will be continued over there, even though the property will be sold to somebody else. Because when you sold to the property or when you mortgage the property, then the easement goes with the property, especially the movable property. That is the. Let us see the illustration for our clear understanding. So, if the illustration is there, A transfers Sultanpur to B, good, on condition that he does not marry C. Okay, B imposes an easement on Sultanpur. Then B marries C. The B's interest in Sultanpur ends, and with the easement is extinguished. So how the it will be extinguished, we will see in this respect how it can be extinguished. So number one, what they say, A transfers Sultanpur to B. So A here transfers some Sultanpur to B. What condition? On condition that he does not marry C. So that he he transferred to Sultanpur to B because B should not marry to C. So B imposed an easement on Sultanpur. So one what he did it, the B imposes a easement on the Sultanpur. Once. So what is the easement? Then B marries C. So when you not marries, that will be worked over there. When he marries C, the B's interest in Sultanpur ends. The interest of Sultanpur ends over there because B married it. No marriage, okay, that is there. And with its easement is extinguished. Automatically, the easement right which is having over the property will be extinguished. So that is an example to say that how the property will be extinguished. Now let us see the second one, the B, that is A in 1860 let the Sultanpur to be for 30 years from the date of the lease. B in 1861 imposes an easement on the land in favor of C, and who enjoys the easement peacefully and openly as an easement without interruption of the 29 years, and B's interest Sultanpur ends and with the C's easement. Here also, so long the property would be there, then he can enjoy it. If the property is no more over there, then he cannot enjoy it. The same thing is a in 1860 let Sultanpur to B. So the Sultanpur is given to B by A for 30 years. 30 years is given from the date of the lease. So the period is from the date of the lease to 30 period is given the Sultanpur to B. B in 1861 means the next year imposes an easement on the land in favor of C. So imposes an easement on the land in favor of C means C is allowed over there to use such a land, and because the right is given, imposes a easement on the land in favor of C. So in his land, it is given to the C, and who enjoys the easement peacefully and openly as an easement without interruption for 29 years. At that instance, C enjoyed it because B has given such a power to C, then up to 29 years he can enjoy it. Who? C. Who has given such easement? B has given. To whom? C. Okay. B's interest in Sultanpur that ends after 29 years, in the 30 years, B interest will be let out, ends because the lease period is over. Then, as per the reversionary right is concerned, he will get back the property. The B's interest Sultanpur that ends, and with the C's easement. So, once the 29 years are over, 30th is over, then automatically Sultanpur is no more the property of the B, then it goes to the A. That means even the easement right which is having over the property also extinguished. That is the extinction, we can say. Okay, let us see the next, what is the point. And there is another illustration also given over there. There is C and B and tenants. But let us see the D example. So let us see the D example, what it says. A mortgage Sultan to B. So he mortgaged the Sultan to B. Who? A. Who is the owner? A is the owner. Mortgage who? B. And lawfully imposes an easement on the land in favor of C. So he imposes an easement who? That A imposes an easement on the land in favor of C. So Here, servant tenement is C. No, servant tenement is A and the dominant tenement is C. And in accordance with the provision of the section 10, what will happen? The land is sold to D. So when the land is sold to D in satisfaction of the mortgage debt, to clear the mortgage debt, of course, mortgage debt plus interest, he sold the land to the mortgagee. The easement not thereby extinguished. Suppose if he sell the such an property, the easement thereby is not thereby extinguished. So naturally, what I say, the easement goes with the property, especially immovable property. Here the land is immovable property. Hence, it goes with the land. That's the point. What I want to say is okay. Next, let us see what is the next. So the second one is extinction by release. Here, extinction by release. So how it comes? Let us see. An easement is extinguished when the dominant owner releases it, and it expressly imperative. So the servant to the servant owner. Suppose the dominant owner, that is the dominant tenement only, he says that I don't want to again use it. At that instance, automatically it comes to the end. So that is the end of it. So now you got the point. Extinction by release here, he himself will say, dominant owner or dominant tenement only say that expressly imperative that I don't want this right over the land or right over the air, right over the support of it. It is enough for me. If he extinguishes, automatically this also goes over there. So, such release can be made only in the circumstances and to the extent and to which the dominant owner can alienate the dominant heritage. Of course, whether the dominant heritage will be alienated or he doesn't want to stay over there or he doesn't want to, take the advantage of it. In any case, the easement will be come to the end. An easement may be an easement may be released as a part only of the servant heritage. So let us see the example illustration. Of course, it is given B, A is given explanation, B is given the explanation. If you see the illustration, that idea will be very much clear to us. So let us see the illustration, what it says. So the illustration, it says, yeah. Yes, anyone can read what the illustration say? Okay, I myself only read it. Okay. Yeah, yes, anyone? Yes. Okay, I myself only read it. Yeah? So the illustration, it goes in this manner. Let me finish it then. Okay. So let me see the illustration. The A, B, and C are the corners. A, B, and C are the corners of a house to which an easement is annexed. So easement is given. Easement is attached to the house where the ABC the corners. A without the concept of B and C. A without the concept B, C releases the easement. Suppose the A releases such an easement without the consent of the B and C. This release is effectual only as against A and his legal representative. So it is effective only against A because he released it or is a legal representative, but in any case it will not be releasing for the B and C. The B and C can take the advantage of it. So it is a release. If you want to release, he himself will be released over there because ABC, the co-owners of the house, which an easement is annexed. Naturally, when an easement is annexed over there, then these people are servient tenants. The dominant tenant will enjoy the right to way, right to light, right to the support of your land. Such a thing would be there. So a release will be there only to that extent who has released it, but not to the other people release. So that is the one example, that is the illustration. In the B illustration, A grants B an easement over A's land. A grants B an easement over the A's land for the beneficial enjoyment of his house, B assigns the house to C, then C, B then proposed to release the easement, the release is ineffectual. So here a grant is given to the A, B by A over the land for the beneficial enjoyment of his house, but B assigns the house to C. When B assigns such a house to C, whether the enjoyment of the easement goes with the land or not. B then proposed to release the easement. Then he proposed to release the easement. He wants that to release it. He doesn't want to carry it. Then the release is ineffectual. So when he wants to release it, he cannot release it. The reason is every easement goes with the immovable property. So one cannot release it. And moreover, it should be informed, notice should be given to them. Otherwise, it will become ineffectual. Even the such an easement also. So that with the, let us see the another example E, what it says. A having a projecting roof by means of which he enjoys an easement to discharge eavesdropping on B's land. So here A having a projecting roof. So the roof is projected by means of which they enjoys an easement. What easement? To discharge the eavesdropping on B's land. Means Suru నీళ్లు B land లో పడుతున్నాయి అన్నట్టు దాన్ని అంటారు డిశ్చార్జ్ ఈవ్స్ డ్రాపింగ్ ఆన్ బీస్ ల్యాండ్ అన్నదాన్ని. So permanently alter the roof as to direct the rainwater into the different channel and discharge it on C's land. The easement is impliedly released. Suppose instead of dropping the eaves drops in the B's land, he kept a conduit or he kept changed the what is a gable roof to the slant roof of one side. Then the rainwater falls in his own land. That is the way impliedly that he removed such an easement, and at that instance the easement will be come to the end. So that is the point where I want to make it clear. Yes, are you following me? Yes, it's yes or no? Okay, okay, very good. Let us see that. So what is the next? Extinction by revocation. So how it can be revoked? What is be revoked? The revoked is only the easement. How the easement can be revoked? So that is a very important factor we can say, then we can go further. So here extinction by the revocation, which is section 39 deals, an easement is extinguished when the servient owner in excess of a power reserved in this behalf or revokes the easement. So an easement is extinguished when the servant owner means the person who has given such a right to the dominant owner, and an excess of power reserved in this behalf revoke the easement. Suppose he keeps the reservation either to allow them or to revoke them, the easement. Who? The servant owner. Who is the servant owner? The person who has given such a right to use the property by the other for his own property. Of course, when their necessity would be there, then he can give such a right. Otherwise, he cannot give such a right. Suppose if he is having the alternative way to reach to his land or to enjoy his land, even though that way is a bit lengthy, it doesn't matter, because even a lengthy way also there, but at least alternative is there. Hence, they will impose that by that you can enjoy your property instead of using the right over my property. So that is the point. Here he cannot preserve in his behalf, revokes the easement. So in the excessive power reserved in this behalf, he revokes the easement. So whatever the powers would be there, either he can pass it or he can say it. But generally the thing that the easement goes with the land. So that is the general saying. So now let us see the next fourth one is extinction on expiration of a limited period of happening of dissolving the condition. So let us see that what it says. I believe it is section 40. It may be the gives a answer for this question. An easement is extinguished, means comes to an end where it has been imposed for a limited period. Suppose the easement is clearly mentioned in the agreement itself. You can enjoy this easement only for 15 years. Means after the 15 years is over, then the easement will come to an end. Or acquired on the condition that it shall have become the void on the performance of the non-performance of the specified act, and the period expires and the condition is fulfilled. Suppose if the condition is fulfilled over there, then automatically the the easement will be come to the end. That means it will be extinguished. So that is the explanation for the section 40 is concerned. But let us see that what the 41 says. So extinction on termination of the necessity. So how the extinction will be there and how the termination of the necessity will come into the picture, that we will see in this one. So that is said with the 41. So an easement of necessity is extinguished when the necessity comes to an end. Suppose if there is no such a necessity, like that I told you, if there is a next alternative way is there to approach his land or enjoy his land, even though the such a way is a bit lengthy also, doesn't matter. But there is a way, because that means there is no necessity would be there. So necessity comes to an end, automatically this easement also comes to an end. So now let us see the illustration, what will say. Yes, A grants B. Yes, anyone can read this illustration among the participants? Anyone can read it. Okay, let me read myself. Okay, next comes the illustration. A grants B a field inaccessible except by the passing over A's adjoining land. So A grants B a field, so he has given certain field to the B inaccessible except by passing over A's adjoining land, unless you can use this adjoining land to reach to your the place to make the cultivate the land. Okay, B afterwards purchases a part of that land over which he can pass to his field. So at that instance, what he did, he purchased some flat which is having the separate way from the other direction. At that instance, over which he can pass to his field, this right of way over his land which he had acquired is extinguished. So whatever the right which he got it by the acquiring the east land, and that will be extinguished automatically, because later part it is there. That is the reason by the time the property will be gone to somebody else. So extinction by the on termination of the necessity, that means if the necessity comes to an end, then automatically that it comes to an end. So that is an illustration regarding the fifth point, which I highlighted. This illustration I explained it. Yes, can you unmute and read this illustration which I am highlighted? Yes.
Sir, I am in journey, sir, so I
Okay.
cannot
Okay.
read
Okay.
properly.
Okay. 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 No matter. No matter. So that is the thing. A grants B. So inaccessible by passing over sage line. B afterward purchase a part of that land over which he can pass to his field. That means if he got the right to use the field of it, then the servant, the dominant tenement becomes a servant tenement. At that instance, automatically the right which he is having come to an end. There is no question of easement. The reason is he purchased such a property where he is using the property for his own benefit before. So that is how it can be extinguished. Then the sixth is extinction of useless easement. So 42 is if the useless easement. Suppose if the right of way is there, but nobody is using the right of way because they are using the different way. At that instance, that easement comes to an end. So an easement is extinguished when it becomes incapable of being at any time under any circumstances benefits to the dominant owner. Suppose if the such a right would be given over there, but the dominant tenement will not enjoy such a right, and that is, it becomes useless to him. At that instance, we can say that the easement can be extinguished. That is the gist of this section 42. So extinction by the permanent changes in the dominant heritage, that is section 43. So where by any permanent changes in the dominant heritage, suppose we want to make a permanent change in the dominant heritage, okay, the burden on the servant heritage is materially, it is materially increased and can't be reduced by a servant owner without interfering with the lawful enjoyment of the easement. The easement is extinguished. So how this easement can be extinguished, we can see that whereby any permanent changes in the dominant heritage. Suppose they have some changes in the dominant heritage which is enjoyed by the other party on the land of somebody else. The burden on the servant heritage is, so the burden on the servant heritage is materially increased and cannot be reduced by the servant owner. So when the materially it is increased over there, the raw material, but later on he cannot reduce it because keeping in that view only that he should have to give the rate. Otherwise, he is not a good yes, because he is not a good orator, he is not a good expert, or he is not a good a prudent man when such a thing is happened where he could not use his brain. Yeah, it was intended for the beneficial enjoyment of the dominant heritage. So, this is the termination or extinction will be useful for the enjoyment of the dominant heritage to whatever extent the easement should be used. So, how much the easement should be used by depending on that factor. If the time period is there, yes, if the time period comes to an end, then automatically easement comes to an end. Then the reversionary rights will start over there. The next is the injury caused to the servant owner by the change is so slight that no reasonable person would complain of it. So these are all the ingredients would be there where you want to make a file and the amount will be come to an end because they will assess it how much the damage is caused to you. So the easement is an easement of necessity. So the easement now what should be there means is the easement of necessity only that you will get such a monetary benefit. Otherwise, you could not. So nothing in this section shall be deemed to apply to an easement consisting, entitling the dominant owner to support the dominant heritage. So this is the necessity is there, like that the necessity is the mother of invention. So if a necessity will be there, man will not see whether it is tasty or not, whether it palatable or not. Just he will eat it to survive himself. Yes, have you got an idea? Did you get me? Yes, at least say yes. At least you can say yes, so that I could move further. So these are the things where we can say that how it can be extinguished. Then we'll say the eighth one is extinction and permanent alteration of the servant heritage by superior force. So here the permanent alteration of a servant heritage. So if the servant will give us an instruction that the servant heritage by the superior force, of course. Yes, High Court is a very much superior. Then who will be there after the High Court? Not. Even the Supreme Court also there in the zenith. Yes. Section 44 says an easement is extinguished where the servant heritage is by superior force so permanently altered and the dominant owner can no longer enjoy the easement. So when a person who is in a permanent nature only lost it, then naturally the temporary or the successor will not or could not enjoy the property. So here the same section provided that where a way of necessary is destroyed by the superior force. Here superior force means act of God, means vis major, means the thing which cannot be in the hands of the person, but it will be hands of the God. So, if anything is destroyed by the superior force, the dominant owner has a right to another way of over the servant heritage. So, the dominant owner has a right to another way over the servant heritage. And the provision of section 14 apply to the in such cases. So, what is section 14 will say? A grants to B, A, B, they are the both the parties. So, A grants to B as the owner of certain house is given by the A to B, and a right to fish in a river running through his land. So you can, if you want, you can make the angling. That means you can use the what do you say angling? You will say in English, ANGLENG means of కత్తులు తెరి ఉంటుంది చూడండి, the slender one. They will use to make it fight like fencing. Yes. So A grants to B as the owner of the certain house, or a certain house is given by the A to B, well and good. A right to finish it in an hour. Yeah, let us see that. Once again, read. The illustration we will make it out. So A grants to B as the owner of certain property. Okay, very much clear. Certain property owner. The A grants to B. B is here the opposite party. Rather, we can say the servant. The B is A grants B, the owner of the certain house, a right to fish and a right to running through the A's land. So A's land will be given over there. Then servitude is the person B, C, and the highest percentage is A, which is having the more bottom line. Yeah, here the right to fish in a river running through A's land. Suppose if such a right is given to the fisherman to fish in his running river through the A's land, the river changes its course permanently, runs through the C's land, and B's easement is extinguished. Suppose instead of the river running towards the right hand side shore, but it has taken the different discourse, a different way of the moving in the other side. At that instance, the easement which is there on the his land, it will forego because he is no more the no sorry the river is no more adjacent to the your house. The river is the opposite side. Then naturally a good number of the places alluvial will be deposited over there in the form of a silt. Even that can be used for the manure, like a manure in the paddy fields. So that is the regarding the section will say section 44 says about that one. So now let us see the B, access to a path over which he has a right of way is permanently cut off by an earthquake, and A right is extinguished. So now where the matter comes to the earthquake, then it's the natural calamity. At that instance, whether to follow or whether not to follow. The right is extinguished, they say. Access a path over the which he has the right over the permanently cut off by an earthquake. Suppose if he having the right to pass that from somebody's house, and even that right is permanently stuck out and disappointed because of the heavy wind, then he cannot insist. Let us see that what happened. Okay, the yes, where you are there. Yes, yeah, wherever the road running along with the foot of the sea cliff. No, that is another. So access path, what is permanently cut off by the earthquake. At that instance, automatically that easement will be cut off, and there is no question of easement. Then suppose the extinction by destruction of either heritage. Suppose the heritage itself is in destruction by its own way. An easement is extinguished when either of the dominant or the servant heritage is completely destroyed. If any one of them is destroyed, the subject matter of is, at that instance, this extinction with the destruction of either heritage of the section 45 is applicable or not. So that will be there. So let us see the another example for the A has a right of way over the road running along the foot of the sea of cliff. There is a foot of the sea cliff that he is having such a right. So what happened? The road is washed away because the heavy winds are there and heavy floods are there. At that instance, the roadside will be washed away, the sand and everything, and by permanent encroachment of the sea. So there will be a permanent encroachment of the sea also happened over there. And yes, easement is extinguished. Automatically, A is having the easement that will be extinguished because the person who wants to get married is no more over there. Then where is the question of Khazi and what the Khazi do? Single. Yes, that is the number nine idea. That is a point or bullet point regarding that matter. So now let us go to the next section. That is the extinction by unity of ownership. That is section 46. So an easement is extinguished when the same person becomes entitled to the absolute ownership of the whole of the dominant and subordinate heritage. Suppose if the property would be there, A and B. Okay, A has given the grants to B, stating that okay, so long that you use it, use the this sensitizer, then you have to return back to it. So now the question comes over there. Suppose he becomes the owner of it. Means dominant tenement becomes a servant tenement because of the purchase the land and he purchase the right. He purchased the sensitizer and he used the sensitizer. At that instance, automatically the easement will comes to an end because here the parties those who are involved in the easement is dominant tenement and servant tenement, or we can say dominant owner or a servant owner. So when the dominant owner becomes a servant owner because of purchase the land or property, then it becomes nothing would be left over there. Then the easement will comes to an end. So that is the way where we can make it out. Okay. The dominant owner acquires the only part of the servant heritage. The easement is not extinguished except in the case of illustrated in section 41. In some cases, it will not be extinguished over there, and only that part will be severed, which will not be applied in such a case. So it is having the several illustrations. If I am not mistaken, yes, these are all the illustrations we will have it. So let us have the quick look at the smallest one, or the one or two line. Now it's only one line, the one line quarter. Yes, if you happen to see the E, which I am highlighting now, this is the highlighted now. E. Yes. The joint owners of the dominant heritage jointly acquire the servant heritage. The easement is extinguished. So here the joint ownership of the dominant heritage and they acquire the servant heritage. Excuse me. Automatic the easement will be extinguished. Let us see the another example of the chart which is there under the G. And A has a right of way over the B's road. Okay. A the owner of the property has a right of way over the B's road. That means here dominant is A and the servant is B. Then the B dedicates the road to the public. B said, no, I will dedicate to the public. Then at that instance, B decides that the road to the public and A's right of way is not established. Suppose the A is having the right of way, which is not there in our any instrument, but I will check it, then I will give you in advance what actually those things. Okay, let us come to the point. Extinction by non-enjoyment. Suppose if you are not enjoying the easement, then automatically it will come to an end. So a continuous, that is what the section 47 says. A continuous easement is extinguished when it totally ceases to be enjoyed as such for an unbroken period of 20 years. So nobody would enjoy such a right unbroken period of 20 years without any disturbance. At that instance, we can say that yes, we can say that will be a valid one because he enjoyed it unbroken for the period of 20 years. The continuous easement is extinguished. Suppose if there is no such a 20 years unbroken record would be there, then automatically it will be seized in the middle. So a discontinuous easement is extinguished where for a like period it has not been enjoyed as such. So the period will be given the time. Up to that extent you can enjoy it. After that he will become a trespasser if he holds such a property. So that is the thing where we can want to share it regarding the extinction by the non-enjoyment of the section 47. Then we will see the another one. And what is this? The another one which will come to the picture. Yeah. So let us see the another one. Okay, some other things. So an example, let us see. Yes, we can see the one of the example illustration. A has an exit to his house, the right of way from his road, thither over the heritage X and Z, and the intervening heritage of Y. Before the 20 years expires, A exercises his right of way over X, his right of way over Y, and Z are not extinguished. So here what I want to say is, if one person right is extinguished over there, then the other Z may not be extinguished. Like an example which is say A has an exit to his house, means he is having a enlarged to his house or extend to his house right of way over from the high road. So one of the right of the high road, and from there over to the heritage. From there he can go to his heritage. So X and Z had the intervening heritage. So there the X and Z is having the intervening heritage with Y, heritage of Y. Before the 20 years experience over there, A exercises right of way over X, yes, and his right of way over Y and Z are not extinguished. So what is extinguished to its only up to that extent, it will not be extended to the other people, those who did not extinguish it. That is what which I want to impress upon you. So let us see in this class. So there is a 19. Okay, if you are there, then you can wind it up in this class, or we will repeat it in the next class because there are some more things are there. How it can be extinct, comes to an extinct. We have seen it, some of them. Then we will see the rest of the things in our next class. Now the time is going to be over. There is 3:29. 1 minute is left over there. If anybody wants to ask any question, you can ask. If not, this is the thank you which I want to keep it for you. And I'm sure that you heard it. Meanwhile, if you did not hear, okay, because of the various other factors are concerned, yes, you can just watch my uh, YouTube channel. That is a link so that you could understand everything. Number one, number two, and because some of them you might have not heard, or because of the various other factors. Now I will throw light on tomorrow on those points again. I will try to wind up by tomorrow, and by this I took at least 4 periods for the easement. With this, I would like to stop it. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and goodbye, and have a good day. And you also say the goodbye and good day. If you could be able to say, then we'll see you tomorrow, the same timings, unless until say my class will be continued. This is a presumption one should have to keep in mind. So with these words that I would like to stop my meeting, then stop sharing, then comes to the end of the meeting and the